What I learned when I was in the Navy as a consultant is that anything that can be measured improves over a period of time. If we can look at how we do what we're supposed to do, we can improve it. If we can just improve it a little bit, I think you can get better margins from your desk. There's one firm I have that's a client in Dallas. They measure everything. They measure how many dials. I mean, they measure like 27 different line items with their phone system. I mean, how many times you scratch your head? I mean, it's all on there. And they notice that the top producers are only making like maybe 5 or 6 more calls a day than other people. It's not a whole lot. So if we can get you to where you're producing in your output in terms of, or on the input side, how many connects do you have per hour? You're going to get greater ratios on the output. It just makes a lot of sense. So look with me in your learning guide. Look with me on page 11. Let me ask you this. Show of hands. How many of you in the last 30 days, you come into the office and it's really tough to get on the phone? Sometime in the last 30 days. Everybody. It happens. I did a seminar for a business brokerage company. They're a franchise. They've sold more businesses in North America than anyone. And I got a chance to go there. I listened early to the top producer panel. And I thought I was listening to top producers within our industry because it was very similar. They negotiate transactions between a buyer and a seller. And all these things in their deals can go wrong. It's just like our business. People can back out at the last minute. And my session was on how to be able to get more done in less time. And one of the ladies there asked me, she says, I'm having a tough time being disciplined. How can I become more disciplined? And I asked her, I said, let me ask you this. How many calls per day would you say you need to make it a good day? She said, 30 conversations per day. And I said, if you make 30 conversations per day, how much can you make every month if you did that consistently? She said, about $10,000 a month. I said, if your manager said all you have to do, 30 conversations per day, whether they're good or bad, it doesn't matter. 30 conversations per day, at the end of the month, you do that every day, I'm going to give you a check for $10,000. Would you have any problem doing that? No, I wouldn't have any problem at all. And I said, so really, it's not an issue of being disciplined anymore, is it? It's the desire. So if we look at this, what's our problem with being disciplined? Oh, you went to the Naval Academy, you're disciplined. No, I'm just as screwed up as everybody else here. I really am. I'm not. That didn't make me disciplined. Oh, you must be very disciplined. No, I still don't make my bed. I still don't shine my shoes. I'm not disciplined at all. So I had to come up with systems and tools that helped me to be able to become more disciplined. It's not my natural state. My natural state? Playing golf, goofing off, spending time with friends. It's not work. That's not my natural state. So I thought, well, what if I made this a game? I like games. I like having fun. I'm going to make recruiting a game. So how can we take this desire and harness it that's deep within you and leverage it and help you make money off that? So on the top of your page, you can put this down on number 11, page 11. There's no such thing as discipline, only desire. So this module is going to talk about how do we plan our day, how do we organize our day, what are the numbers in terms of the calls we need to be making. But this is where it all starts. Look on this chart. You've got 6 different areas on your chart, on your page, on page 11. These are what I would call the major life areas that you have in your life. You've got business or your job. You've got financial, personal finance. You've got family, recreation, hobby. And if you don't have a family, it could be close friends. Physical fitness. And mental or spiritual. And you've got a scale, 1 through 10. What I want you to do right now, this is an exercise. Nobody else is going to see this. I want you to go through each of these just for about 2 minutes and ask yourself, in each of these areas, what's my fulfillment level right now? 10 meaning I'm completely satisfied in this area of my life. 1 meaning I need some work. No one else is going to see this. You're not going to show this to anybody. But go through here and put a circle around each of those numbers, each of those areas. What you've done an exercise in life balance, is what it is. Now I want you to connect the dots. Connect the dots. Maybe it looks something like this. And your goal is to have as straight of a line as you can. Whether it's an all 5 or an all 6 or an all 7. That's your goal. And you guys that see that, you see the zigzagged line? You know your life isn't in balance as much as it could be.
How about not at all?
And I've got to tell you this. It doesn't matter where you are. It's not right or wrong. It's just the way it is right now. So this is a really good focusing tool that I look at. Whenever I do this, I always go through this. And I get to check in. It's a check-in. I say, okay, where am I in my business? Where do I need to give some attention to? Because have you noticed that the emotions that you have at work go home with you every night? Right? Have you noticed that the emotions at home come to work with you every day? That you're the same person all the time? How many of you here send emails from home to your clients and candidates? How many of you done that at least once or twice in the last week? Yeah. How many of you made a personal call at work in the last week? Yeah, I mean, we're the same everywhere we go. That's just the way work is now. So we have to just say, let's admit it. Let's admit that, and how can we leverage it? How can we make money off that? By putting ourselves in a state of balance, it gives us more energy. If we're out of whack physically, you're not going to feel like making phone calls. If you've got issues going on in relationships in your private life, it's going to show up in your calls. I really believe this, that recruiting is really a personal opportunity, personal development opportunity disguised as a job. It's really what it is. The more you take care of yourself, the more you nurture yourself, it's going to show up in your production. I don't think you can be successful in this business and not have any character. It's really a character development business. Any deficit that you have in your character, it will show up in your production. And in this business, you can't hide because the numbers reveal themselves. If you're lazy, you're not going to have the output. If you don't think the right way, if you don't have values that people really feel compelled to follow, you're not going to be able to turn people around. So everything that happens to you in each of these areas, it really affects your production. So this is the next step, kind of looking at this model of how do we get stuff done. I mean, really, if I called this module a section, I'd call it how to get more done in less time. How can we get all this done in the time that we have? Look with me on the next page. What we're looking at is developing a model of you getting your day organized. And it starts with this. Is your life really in balance? And this is something you can do. If you've never done this before, you can go through each of these and set 12-month goals on each of these areas. For 12 months, what are my goals? What are the 2 or 3 things I want to accomplish in this area? What are the 2 or 3 things I want to accomplish here? How about here, 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 here? I started doing this in each of these areas for myself probably back in 2002. 2001, 2002 is when I started doing this. I set goals every year and every month in each of those areas. Now I don't have to do that because they're habits. They're just a part of my ritual, part of my daily routine. But what it does, it helps you to start living your life in a deliberate way so that you're living your life with intention. Because how you choose to live your life in one of these areas, it affects your production. I mean, it really affects your desk. So what are the 2 or 3 things I want to do here? What are the 2 or 3 things I want to do here? How about here? Physical fitness. Start going to the gym. If you're not exercising, it's going to reflect in your production because this is an intense business. I mean, sitting on the phone all day. My God, that's so emotionally draining, isn't it? And you get all tense and you got to go work it off. You got to stay fit. If you don't get enough rest, you ever have this happen? You don't get to bed until 2 or 3 in the morning? I don't know about you, but whoever came up with that phrase, sleeping like a baby, didn't have a baby. And you got to come in and make phone calls the next day. It doesn't work. So remember, there's no such thing as discipline, only desire. And we're going to look at this desire. Look with me on the top of page 12. Number 1, ultimate career billing goal. What is your ultimate career billing goal? What I mean by that is 3 to 5 years from now. If you do everything you're supposed to do, every single hour of every day, what are you capable of? There's one consultant in my mentorship program. She's probably billing about $250 or $300. I asked her, I said, what if you were able to do everything you're supposed to do, every single hour of every single day? What are you capable of producing? She said, $500,000. And then I asked her this. I said, what's the absolute worst thing that would happen if you did that? She said, well, I'd probably be tired. And I said this. I said, are you tired now? She said, yes. I'm like, well, what's your problem? Let's go. Come on. What would happen if you did everything you're supposed to do every single hour of every day for a year? What are you really capable of? And that's a realistic number. You know what the number is. Everybody knows what it is, right? You've got it in your mind. Go ahead and write it down right now. What is that number? What are you capable of doing? And the next part of that is, what's keeping you from doing that? If you know you're capable of doing that, and you think about that number, you actually will get a physical charge. See, what we're looking at doing, really, we're looking at trying to put you in a state of peak performance. We're going to use sports psychology to change your emotional state. Because Olympic athletes know if I can change my emotional state, I affect my performance on the field. And this is where it all starts. Identifying your ultimate billing goal. The next one is this. What's your annual billing goal, your annual production goal? At the end of 12 months, if you're able to do, for this year, over the next 12 months, let's say you have one for the end of this year and start looking for next year. What's my annual production goal for next year? And that's your number. And then with that, what you want to do, look in the very back. And it's this page right here. It says Annual Goal Tool. And this is something you can use as you measure your performance. You can write the number up here, cut it out, tape it to your monitor, put it on your desk, put it in a place where you see it. And every time you close a deal, you start coloring it in with red ink. So this is like one of those United Way fundraising campaigns, you know? We're going to measure our progress. So two things happen. As you fill it up with red, you say, this is working for me. I'm progressively reaching my goal, and I have a visual representation of that. I can see it. Second, and it's exciting. It validates that this business really works, because I don't know about you, but every time I close a deal, there's this little voice in the back of my head that says, man, I'm never going to close a deal like that again. Does anybody else know what I'm talking about? Man, no one's ever going to pay me a fee like that again. How long have you been doing this? 11 years. Oh, yeah, that's right, it works. I keep forgetting. Oh, I'm looking right here. I've got some red ink. Yes, it does work. It validates what I've done. The second thing it does, it causes stress because it shows you, congratulations, now get back on the phone. It shows you you've got some white space for you to hit that goal. How many of you use this? I know, Tracy, you use this? Yeah. It's easy. I mean, how much will it cost for you to use something like this? What's your actual cost? Zero, nothing. But it helps us to focus on what we should be doing on an annual basis. It helps us to get some of that desire. So look with me back on page 12. So every month, I ask myself this, letter C, I say, what are the 2 or 3 things I need to accomplish most? If I don't do anything except for 2 or 3 things, what are those things going to be if I can still call it a good month? And I'm not talking in terms of production. I'm talking in terms of candidates, face-to-face interviews, search assignments, those sorts of things. Same thing every week. When I'm planning my week out, Friday or Sunday, before Monday, anytime before Monday, I've got my deal sheets in front of me, all the deals where I have things closing. And I'm going to ask myself, what are the 2 or 3 things that I want to accomplish this week to call it a good week? It might be I want to set up 3 face-to-face interviews and present 5 candidates or 7 candidates, whatever's normal for your model, for your industry. If I only do these 2 things, what are those 2 things going to be? 2 or 3 things. That's it. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my activity sheet of all the searches, I'm going to print it out, and I'm going to highlight it with the highlighter. What are the deals I need to touch this week? Out of all the deals I have pending, what are those things I need to touch? And everything that's getting touched, I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to write down what I need to do. Check references, initiate search, close the deal, qualify the candidates, do some research, or whatever it is. So I'm starting to develop my plan for the week. So remember, it all starts with what's my annual production goal, or even beyond that. What's my ultimate career billing goal? What's my annual goal? What are my monthly goals? I mean, it's real simple, real simple. 2 or 3 things every week. What are the 2 or 3 things I want to accomplish today? If I don't do anything else but these 2 or 3 things and I can call it a good week, what are they? Same thing for the day. my daily goals every day. At the end of the day, as I'm planning my day for the next day, what are the 2 or 3 things I want to accomplish for tomorrow? Sometimes if I'm having a tough time getting on the phone, I might just say, I just want to have 20 conversations. I don't care what else happens as long as I have 20 calls or 25 calls. I don't care what the results are for tomorrow. I just need to get on the phone. Just a result. I don't care what the results are, just like a performance goal. Letter F, in terms of my focus. And like I said, I'm the most distractible person in the world. Hey, did anybody go to that Indian restaurant? See what I mean? I just got distracted. I'm everywhere. I can only think of one thing at a time. Anybody here of multitasking and you know it doesn't really exist? It's just a myth? You can't do it. So I get so distracted. You know how it is, especially with email. An email comes in. Well, it's Richard wanting to know if I have heard from the client yet again. I'd better re-email him again and let him know I'm going to do that. And there's a pop-up. Cheap Tickets is having a sale. Well, maybe I should go there and check it out. There's another pop-up for People Magazine, and I've got to find out what's going on with Angelina and Brad. So you go there, and then there's another for coffee, Starbucks coffee. And I look at my coffee, and it's empty, and I've got to go downstairs and refill it. And then I go there, and the coffee's really old. I should probably make a new pot. So I take the time, make a new pot. It's filled up. I've got it in my cup. I'm out of half and half. And I can't use the powdered stuff. I just don't do the powdered. I've got to go down to CVS and get some real cream. I'm going down there and I see they sunglasses. I'm here at CVS. I'm trying sunglasses on at 11 in the morning at the CVS when I should be making phone calls. That's what I'm talking about. Okay? I mean, it's not that bad, but you get my point. So I have to ask myself this all the time. What's the best use of my time right now? What's the best use of my time right now? Because I get so distracted. I mean, Daryl will tell you. I think you even said something to me like, I think sometimes you want to distract yourself. I think she's right, because I'm making phone calls and they might tell me no. How bad is that? What's the best use of my time right now? So this is what I have to do to keep coming back to what I know I should be doing. It's not in my natural state. So I have to make myself. So I create systems to help myself get there. And I know if it works for me, it's going to work for you too. In letter G, just like we talked about before, in terms of organizing your desk, planning your day, you need to think for each unit of time you want to get 3 units back. So as we start developing a plan for the week, we have our weekly strategy sheet. And I'll bring a copy of what I use in. It's just an Excel spreadsheet. If some of you don't have a system where you track that, you need to have all your deals on one sheet that you can look at so you can print it out and allocate your time. What's the best use of my time? What do I need to do for each one of these? And just like it says in number 2, what are the deals that need to be touched this week? So that way I don't get stuck in massaging this one deal and spending too much time on it when I've got other things that need a little bit more time and attention. This goes back to strategy, where we spend our time. So let's just say I'm planning my day for tomorrow. I start with this question. What are the 2 or 3 things I want to accomplish? And what I do, I've got this dry erase board right in front of my desk, and I write down. You go into my office, I've got my monthly goals, I've got my weekly goals, and my daily goals right there. Every day I'm erasing it. And so usually my daily goals, I'll say, what are the 2 or 3 things I want to accomplish? I'll say today, if I'm qualifying candidates, I might say I want to qualify 5 candidates, and I want to present 2 candidates, and I'm going to set up 1 face-to-face interview. So I'll write my goals down, and then every time I do this on the dry erase board, and I call it a good day. Real simple like. Real simple. If you don't have a dry erase board in front of you, get a yellow sticky note. Write your 2 goals on it and tape it to your phone. Because what are you looking at? You're looking at it every day, all the time, throughout the day. What are the 2 or 3 things I want to accomplish for the day? So as we allocate our time, because what we're going to do when we create a plan, it's really a budget for that. Now, how many of you here actually plan your day every day? Yeah, okay. I'd recommend doing this. And this is the model that I've learned from other recruiters that I've kind of figured out on my own. It's real simple. And the stuff I tell you, I mean, this is recruiting. It's not Scott's way of doing it. If I ever say something and you don't like it, it's okay. You don't have to use that. It's just stuff that's worked for me. It's stuff that I've seen work for other people. what we're going to do, we're going to look at how do we develop a budget for our day. And look in one of the very last sheets. And you'll see a calendar here that I printed out from the first time I gave this seminar. Looks like this. I use Microsoft Outlook to plan my day. I create a schedule for my day. Every day, before I go to bed, I create a schedule for my day. And what I've learned that in the United States Navy, every ship that sets sail always has an end port in mind, where it's going. They never just set sail and say, where are we going to go today, Captain? I don't know. Let's just get underway and we'll figure it out. Doesn't happen, okay? Doesn't happen. They know where they're going and how they're getting there, and the whole course is plotted out. And here's something else I learned, that every ship in the United States Navy, anytime it sets sail, it's always off course. Because you've got the wind and the currents and the seas that push it off course. And it's okay. It's all right. You just bring it back on course. But we've got to have a direction. So your plan is your chart. This is your course heading. It might not be what happens, but you've got to have a direction. You've got to set your intention to what you want to accomplish for the day. So we're creating our budget. I used to start from the very beginning and go to the very end. But instead, I started budgeting the larger blocks of time first. I started doing that earlier this year when I started getting back into this full time, and it really worked for me. I said, what are the larger blocks of time I need to budget for first? Recruit calls. Let's say 2-hour blocks each. I'm going to budget those first. Those take up the most time. Those get on the calendar first. The next thing I'm going to do, what are the critical calls I need to make? Those get done first, earlier in the day. And what you want to do, going back to our learning guide, number 3, we want to group like activities with like activities. Let me ask you this. What are the types of calls you all make in recruiting? What are the types of conversations you have with people on your desk? Recruit call, right? What else? Marketing call. What else?
Interview prep.
Interview prep. Very good. What else? Interview debrief. Good. What else? Reference check. Good. What else? Qualifying call over here. What else? Closing call. Somebody else? Celebration call. Call your honey. We're going to dinner tonight. What else? Sourcing calls. Oh yeah. Finding out who holds what title within a company. What else? Say that again. Account development. Yeah, good. I'll call it BD, business development calls. Great. What else? Reference checks, already got that up here. So this is it. So your whole desk consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 types of calls. That's it. What you don't want to do is make a business development call, then a sourcing call, then a celebration call, then a closing call, then a marketing call, then a recruit call, then a marketing call, then a recruit call, interview prep, recruit call, reference check. You don't want to do that. You want to develop a synergy to your work effort. So what we're going to do is group our like activities with like activities. If you've got your qualifying calls, bunch them all together. You're not going to reach everybody. You're not going to reach everybody at that time. I used to think, well, I only take inbound calls between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. But now I'm just so happy when someone calls me back anytime I'll take it. I'm happy when my mom returns my phone call. I mean, that's how bad it really is. Have you guys noticed it's really tough to get calls back from people? It's gotten even tougher since it was like 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, now, today, in today's world, nice people don't return phone calls. It used to be only nice people. Nice people always return calls. Now they don't because they got so much information they have to deal with. So your plan, it's going to deviate, and then you get back on task. But you group your like activities with like activities. So when you do your plan, you start off like this. You block out your time. I'm going to recruit on search assignment A and search assignment B. I'm going to do my candidate qualifying from the people I talked to yesterday there. I've got my interview preps, interview debriefs, offer, all those fun calls to make early in the morning. I'm going to return my phone calls after I get back from lunch. I've got my marketing calls over here for an MPC. I might do another MPC down here. And you can make it more detailed, and the tighter you make it, the better off your plan is. So if I've got 10 candidates I need to qualify, or 5 people I need to qualify, I'm just going to go to my Microsoft Outlook, or if you have a software program that integrates everything together, that's even better. I'm just going to put all their names right here. Bob, Steve, Harry, Gary, and Mickey. I mean, they're all going up right there. And I've already got their phone numbers in my database. So you don't want to be looking up phone numbers. And then at the very end of the day, this is your plan time. At the end of the day, that's when you're planning your next day. So your day really begins around 4:30. And you want to dedicate at least 15 to 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, sometimes 2 hours, depending on where you want to search and what you need to do, to just doing one thing, developing your plan for the next day, doing your research, getting all your lists together. Because what you don't want to do is go through here and have to look up a phone number in the middle of that. Because every activity that you do, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. If I'm starting something, and you come in and you interrupt me, I have to stop what I'm doing. I have to look at you. I have to start this. I'm listening to you. I get into it, and I have to stop. Then I have to get back to what I was doing before. Then you're coming at somebody else's, and I have to stop this, and I have to listen to you, and I come back because our minds can't focus on more than one thing at a time. Our minds are not like RAM. They don't just hold all this information. They're focusing agents. One thing at a time. One thing at a time. One thing at a time. If you don't believe me, try to play chess online with 3 people at once. You can't do it. Except for Yasser, or Osman, there's this famous chess player. I've got his DVD, and he does his seminar, and he's got like 10 people over here, 10 people over here, and he goes around in the circle, and he's playing like 40 people at once. Who's that?
It's called a simul.
Yeah, it's incredible to see this. But I ain't like that. One thing at a time. Now, here's another tool you can do. Let's say you start doing your plans. And what you want to do, you want to print them out. And here's an exercise for you. When you start doing this, if you think you're so good at managing your time, let's find out how good you really are. You plan your day out. Every time you do something that is not on here, personal email, personal call, getting up, getting coffee, someone talks to you, every time you do that, put a red dot. The first time I did this, for the first hour, do you know how many dots I had? Someone guess? Like 13. I'm like, for 1 hour. And you know when I started doing this, I'd never read of that before. I thought, well, this is my plan. How do I really know what I'm doing? Because the largest search firm in Boston hired me to come and do this time management. We want to be better time managers. And I'm like, well, you can't be better time managers because we can't manage our time. We can manage our focus and our attention. So let's focus on our attention and our time. So I'm doing some research. And I'm like, okay, let me try this on myself. I came up with this idea. How good am I? I'm like, oh my gosh. I can't believe how disorganized I really am. So just by doing that, there's an automatic correction in how you execute. Because now you're cognizant of how I'm really spending my time. So a lot of it is, what's our intention? What do I want to accomplish today? That's half the battle. I mean, Tiger Woods, when he plays golf, what's his intention on every hole? It's like to get a bogey or a birdie, right? I mean, it's not like, well, let me just see what happens. No, he doesn't play that way. Every hour of your day should be like that also. Does this make sense to everybody? So if you do your plan and you write this budget out for your day, how much time will that take you every day, do you think? What do you think? I mean, just doing this. Not even doing the research and all that.
30 minutes.
Yeah, 30 minutes, maybe 15, maybe even 5 minutes. Just to sit down there and schedule your day out. Let's say 10 minutes. What's the return on your time? You going to have a better day? Absolutely, because you know where you're going. And we know we should be doing this. It becomes a habit. I've only had like maybe 2 or 3 days in the last year where I haven't done this. And if you say, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and do it, you know what? Just don't go to work that day. I'm serious. It doesn't work unless you do it the night before. Because 2 things happen. When you schedule your day the night before, you don't have to think about it at night. You go home, spend time with your loved ones. This is already done. I don't have to think about work anymore. And then you come to work and you're like, oh, it's paint by the numbers. It's already done for me. Yippee, just paint by the numbers. Go through here. Got your call, it's all done. It's just get on the phone. Does that make sense to everybody? So when we, on letter B, remember that changing from one activity to another, it's a distraction. And you lose effectiveness. You get distracted. How many of you here have people in the office that come and talk to you when you should be on the phone? Yeah, everybody's smiling. If you're not raising your hand, I see a smile, okay? I see everybody smiling. As soon as I asked that, I saw a couple of hands and everybody else is like this. You know, you're like... This is one thing you can do. This is what I did with that search firm in Boston. They said, this is a crisis. I said, because of our model, they do different types of recruiting. I said, what you need to do within your divisions, everybody gets together and you all agree, what are the expectations of our telephone time? Not just the manager saying, between this time and this time. Manager facilitates discussion. What are the times? How much time do you need in the morning and the afternoon? 2 hours of just prime phone time, 2 hours of just prime phone time, or whatever, 2 or 3 hours, whatever. I said, it's okay, you need to make it very clear. Between this time and this time, and this time and this time, we don't talk to anybody about anything unless it's one of these 3 things or 4 things. Counteroffer, an offer, or something or something or something. And everybody agrees to that. Get consensus. It's the only way it's going to get done. If the boss says it, well, he doesn't own it. Everybody has to really agree on that. So you say, okay, we're not going to bother each other during these times so we can stay on the phone. Because I've got to tell you, you make a good call, you want to go tell people about it, right? Ooh, I had this great call. He likes me. He really likes me. You want to go tell somebody about that? No. Hey, Bob, you see the phone? This is your phone. See your phone? Yeah, I see it. What? Well, you see when I take the headset off? See the little green light comes on, right? Yeah, okay. So when I hang it up, the light's on. Okay. You're doing your job when the light is on. See? If the light's not on, you're not doing your job. It's a telephone business. So by developing a plan and focusing on this and respecting each other's time, you can make more phone calls. So letter C, when you plan your day, you want to be as specific as you can. As specific as you can. What are the types of phone calls? And if you can, who are those people you're going to be reaching during that time? The tighter the plan, the better the day. So you know exactly who you're going to be calling during that time. You've got their phone numbers already. So you don't have to be looking it up. It's all right there. Does that make sense to everybody? Now let me ask you this. How many work hours are there in the course of a calendar year? 2,080. So you've got 2,080 hours to call people, right? Out of those 2,000 hours, if you could be on the phone for a certain number of them, how many hours would you really, really want to be on the phone hustling? Out of 2,000 hours, what do you think is good? 1,000. Let's just say 1,000 hours. 1,000 hours of being on the phone talking to people. If I can help you reach one more person per hour, over 1,000 hours, how many more conversations would that be by the end of the year? That's just 1,000. 1,000 times 1, 1,000. See, I told you I wouldn't trip you up. You're like, I know there's a trick here somewhere. Yeah, that's right. Let me ask you this. Let's say you're a production manager. You're making widgets. You produce 4 widgets per hour. If we want to get you to 5 widgets per hour, what percentage increase is that in your production? 25%. It's okay. 25% if you're going up. I'm going to take 25% of my current production and add it. So 4 to 5. Is a 25% increase in a company's sales in 1 year pretty significant? Oh, yeah. How about in a month? How about in a week? So you have your own manufacturing operation and you're producing calls. I go into search firms, I say, how many calls per hour do you people make? You know what the answer is? We don't know. We've never measured that before. But if you think about your year is really a series of well-executed hours. You've got 1,000 hours and that's it. You're not getting any more. 1,000 hours. That's your resource. You're a manager. What are my resources? I've got my time and I've got my efforts, my abilities. I've got my phone and my lists, my head, my brain. Those are my resources. So what we want to do is help you go from maybe it's 3 conversations to 4 or 5, whatever it is. But anything that can be measured improves over a period of time. So here's an example. Look with me in the back on the telephone discipline tool. And it's this tool right here. Has anybody ever used this before?
Yes.
Show of hands. Wow, okay, you guys have used this. That's good. Does it help you?
No.
No? Doesn't help?
I want to make a paper airplane out of it and throw it.
Oh, really? Okay, that's good. You want to make a paper airplane out of it and throw it away.
It does help. Just
It does help.
frustrates.
I have a problem remembering to do it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a habit, though. It's a habit, though. It's a habit.
Because you're like, did I write that down?
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. So let me tell you what this is all about. You take your plan, you hold your plan up to this, and then what you do with these, you're setting your intention. Because really, getting things done, it's about four things. What's your intention? What's your intensity? What's your intention, essentially? What's your focus? And your execution. It's those four things. That's it. What's our intention? What do we want to have happen?
Get through to the client.
Yeah, get through to the client. Not just the results, but also the calls per hour, the units that we're manufacturing. Want to manufacture a good product that works, and we also want to look at what's the widgets per hour, right? Our intensity. How intense are we going to really be at getting the job done? Our focus, one thing at a time. No multitasking. And execution, actually doing the work. So what we're doing, you take a highlighter. This doesn't work unless you use a highlighter. So I've got my goals for tomorrow. What are the 2 or 3 things I want to accomplish? I've got my plan, and I've got my telephone discipline tool. Those 3 things, that's all I need. I'm going to go through here. Let's see, from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, I've got to do 3 debriefs. Going to do a candidate prep and 2 debriefs. From 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I'm going to do some recruit calls. I think I might be able to reach 5 people. And I think if you're hustling, 4 to 5 recruit calls per hour is a good hour. If you're hustling. If you got your list,
Conversations, not
yeah,
just
conversations.
calls.
Not just dials. I don't really care about measuring dials because what do you really want to have happen?
Connect.
Conversations. What pays the bills? Conversations, connects. So that's what we're setting our intention for. So 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock to 12, I might do 3 qualifying calls. 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, I've got to do some qualifying calls. 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, I'm marketing a candidate to decision makers. Realistically, if I'm doing that, from my experience, reaching 3 decision makers per hour marketing a candidate. That's just from my own experience. Other people, different industries, it might be different, depending on who your decision maker is. 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, I might be doing some recruit calls, and 4 to 5, I might be qualifying 2 people and doing my plan. And that's my day, and I set my intention. So every time I have a conversation with someone, put an X, put an X, put an X, put an X, 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 X. So let's say it's 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. My goal is to reach 5 people. Let's say I've only reached 4, and I've got one more little yellow box that I want to put an X in. It's 9:55. I've got 5 minutes to reach one more person. What do you think I'm going to do?
Pick up the phone.
I'm going to pick up the phone. Hey, Scott, how's your weekend? Shut up, please. I've got to make a phone call. One more person. Do you think there's a difference now that I know what I need to do? Before, we didn't know. Oh, it's great. Hey, did you get the TPC reports? I'm not going to talk about anything because I'm not focused. So just by setting your intention, it's going to make a big difference in how you actually execute. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Let me go back to the page 12. What I want you to do now, I want you to turn to the person next to you. And I want you to tell them, what is my annual production goal over the next 12 months? Or if you're looking for next year for 2007, what is my goal? Let's for November. We'll do November. What are the 2 or 3 things I want to accomplish for November? Let's also do your goals for next week, and we'll do it for Monday. So this is what we're going to talk about. Next person next to you. What's my annual production goal? Okay. I want you to go over and tell them annual, monthly, next week, and Monday. Go ahead and do that with the person next to you. Next thing I want you to do, I want you to take a blank sheet of paper, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do a plan for Monday. Okay? What I want you to do is work with the person next to you and go ahead and develop your plan for Monday. Take no more than about 2 or 3 minutes. It doesn't have to be perfect. But I want you to get in the habit today of starting to develop your plan for Monday. So work with the person next to you and have them, and go over it with the other person next to you. Say, this is what I'm planning to do, so you can have some accountability. Yeah.
I just want to know, I do weekly result planning, and can you tell me how there would be a significant advantage in doing it daily? Because to me, I'm just wasting more time planning every day.
What do you guys think? How has it affected you guys that plan your days out every day?
I think it changes too much. I mean, things can kind of pop up. And
Well, you can add them on, but I mean, you know, if I spend 20 minutes on a Sunday evening planning my results for the week, and someone else is going to spend 20 minutes a day, that's 80 minutes of wasted time now.
I think when you allocate your day, you're just setting a budget for where you intend to spend your time. Because like if you come into the office Monday, you know what you want to do. If you put it on paper, you don't have to think about it. And my plan changes. Usually around lunchtime, I'll come in, I might need to rearrange some things. It's not actually what happens, but we need to have some sort of an intention of what we want to accomplish and when we're going to call people. In other words, when you set your plan out this way, you keep yourself from making a recruit call, sourcing call, marketing call, client development call, because you really do lose effectiveness. Especially if you're doing candidate recruit calls, we want to batch all those together. I mean, you might actually be doing this without having to write it down.
Right, that's probably.
Yeah, I mean, that might be the case. I mean, some people, they can do that. I can't, you know. So for me, it helps me to have it all written down. Some of you might not need to do that, but I think that if you write it down, you might get an edge. And an edge, no matter how great or small, it's still an edge, and that's all you need. So go ahead and do a plan for Monday and share it with the other person, and we'll see what it looks like. Any pain associated with that?
Yes.
Yeah? Maybe a little bit of change? You know what's going on, though? That's good. That's good. Here's an example. Everybody take your watch and take it off of one wrist. Take it off your wrist. Yeah, you can do it. It's okay. And I'm not going to say, like, pass them forward. I'm going to say, put it on the other wrist now. Put it on the other wrist. Doesn't fit? Put it on the other wrist. And this is going to feel real uncomfortable for you. It probably does. You probably can't even put it on there. I can't. I'm doing it also. So you put it on there. And what's going to happen is that the rest of this afternoon, you're going to be doing this. Oh, looking at the wrong hand. But in about another 2 hours, you're going to adjust. You're going to adapt. And if you keep it on, by the end of the day, this will be where you're going to be looking. So it's painful because there's some change going on. That's okay. There's this one industrial company that invited me to speak at their client meeting, and I was talking about change management. And I had all the owners, and there's a group of guys, big guys. They all got up. I said, take your belts off and put it on the opposite way. And this one guy's like, everybody else is sitting down, and he's sitting in front of 200 people. You know, it's like he finally got it on. And then people told me after I did that, the restroom was filled with these guys putting their belts on the other way because it was so hard for them to deal with that. And they're complaining about that. And I didn't realize how much change that really was. That's no big deal, right? But it impacted them. Some of you guys might have said, oh man, I don't want to do that. It's going to be uncomfortable. But you're going to adapt after a period of time. So there might be some pain associated with this. This is new. I've never done it. Well, I always say, try it for a week. If it doesn't make a difference, don't do it anymore. Just try it for a week and see if it makes an impact for you. What's your cost in doing this? A couple of minutes of your time. What's your impact? Let me show you another tool I think will help you. I did this starting in 2002, right after 9/11. I was working commercial construction. I said, that's it. I'm creating my own economy. I stopped reading certain articles in the Wall Street Journal because I said, nobody's putting buildings together. You guys remember that? 2002. How many of you were in the business back then? That was a tough time, wasn't it? I mean, every client you call, well, we're laying off people. Oh, man, not another one. And I said, okay, that's it. I'm not going to believe it. I'm going to create my own economy. So I found certain pockets. People doing Walmarts. I mean, that was my niche. Companies building Walmarts. Not very exciting, but they were growing. So I was able to keep my fees high and did okay. But what I did, I said, you know what? I'm going to make this a game. So this is what I came up with. Anybody know what that is? Yeah, yeah. Look on the one of the last pages here, at the very end. It's this page right here. I said, I'm going to let the calendar be my motivator. How many calendar days are there in the course of a month, typically? 30. See, I'm not tripping you up. I'm not asking questions that are going to mess you up. 30 calendar days. So I said, you know what? I'm going to see if I can do 30 candidate presentations in the course of a month. 30 emails that I send to clients for a specific search assignment or a candidate that I'm marketing. If I do that, I think I might be able to set up a certain number of interviews, face-to-face interviews. What do you think a good ratio would be? For every 30 candidate presentations, how many face-to-face interviews? What do you think? Yeah, face-to-face interviews. 12 to 15. For myself, it was like 8 to 10. And it depends on your industry. You know, some people that work accounting and finance, like accounting coordinators and people like that, they might do 60 candidate presentations and set up 20 interviews. It really depends on where you are. Some firms that just do senior level, it might be 10 candidate presentations, 3 interviews, and they close 1 deal. It really depends. But this is a ratio that I think most people in the business seem to say that it fits within their model. If I have 30 candidate presentations, 8 to 10 face-to-face interviews gives me about 2 deals a month. And what that is, that's really, let's just say it's like a 5 to 1 interview to placement ratio. Some people it might be 3 to 1. Other people it might be 8 to 1. It really depends on your niche and your industry. But let's just say for every 5 interviews you set up, you close 1 deal. Is that pretty much a number that you guys have seen in your industry, in your office? Yeah. So what I said, I'm going to use the calendar month as a way to motivate me so that whatever the date is for the month, that's how many candidates I want to have emailed to my clients. So if it's the 10th of the month, how many emails do I want to have to my clients of resumes? 10. If it's the 15th of the month, how many? 15. Close. 15. You're just waiting, man. You're just waiting. Who said that? If it's 30. I knew. That's okay. You guys are from Florida. Yeah, I like that. 30. How many? 30. So if it's the first of the month.
So you call an email a presentation?
I would call a candidate presentation where I'm emailing a resume to a client. They have a need. Here's the candidate. Oh, we're interested. Okay, I'm going to then set up a face-to-face interview or a telephone call if it's a distance. If it's a candidate I'm marketing, I'm calling up a company. Yes, we have a need. I tell them what my fee is. They agree to it. I then email the resume. That's another one. So I didn't really keep track. If I want to do 10 of these and 10 of these, I'm going to say emailing resumes to clients. Maybe 75% of it might be on searches. 25% might be candidates that I market. Where I have a candidate that wants to make a move, I'm calling up employers, telling them about my candidate. Anytime I presented a resume, that's one. I mean, as long as the fee's been cleared and I know that this is something that they said they have a need for or they're interested, they understood my fee, yes, they agreed to it, present the resume. So I want to do 30 of those a month. So whatever the date is for the month, that's how many emails, how many resumes I want to have presented for the month, right? So if it's the first of the month, Monday's the first, how many resumes? By the end of the day, just one. So if it's the second, how many? No, just one. Just one. We're up to 2 total for the month. If it's the third, we want to have 3 total for the month, so how many on Wednesday? Just one. Thursday, just one, right? Friday, just one, right? Saturday, how many? None, because I'm playing golf. Sunday, how many? None, because I don't even remember that I'm in this industry on Sunday. I really don't. Monday the 8th. 3! Yes! You get some candy here. Good job. Pass that back, please. Thank you. So I'm going to have to hustle on Monday. I'm going to have to hustle on Monday. Mondays are hustle days, people. If you start Monday hard, what happens to the rest of the week? You've got it down. You've got it down. So how many on Tuesday? Just one. How many on Wednesday? Just one. What's your problem? How many on Thursday? Just one. How many on Friday? Just one.
On Monday, you take 2 days off.
Talk to your manager. How many on Monday? 3. Do you see a pattern here? How many on the 22nd? 3. How many on Monday the 29th? 3. So, how many days per month are you going to hustle? 4. You're going to hustle just 4 days a month. Out of 30 days, 4 of them are going to be hustle days. That's it. And you're going to coast for the rest of the week. I remember I did the annual meeting for the Lucas Group. 200 recruiters there. And Art Lucas is right up in the front. And if you've ever met him, he's very sharp. He's very sharp, very nice, but he's got a lot on the ball. I don't ever want to play poker with Art Lucas because I know he'll be able to read me like a book. I'm serious. That's how sharp he is. And I remember I said, I'm going to show you how you can coast and slack off every day of the month except for 4. And Art and he's like, he's like, I remember looking at him, and I'll never forget that look on his face. We paid him to come here and tell us this? But yes, that's it. And if you think about this, let's get you those ratios, right? Is this a good number? Yes. It's right here. You take the mystery out of that. And you're also doing this. You're setting yourself up on Monday to hustle. I've always noticed that how the week starts is how it ends up. If it starts good, it's going to be a good week. If it's bad, might as well take the week off. No. Each day, just one. This is something that I use that helps me. That really helps me a lot. Any questions about this? Let me give you some other tools you can use. Look with me on page 24, I think. Excuse me, no? Sorry. On page 19. If you're still having problems getting up and getting on the phone, and we all do, okay, let's just admit it. Let's just admit it and see if we can find a way to solve it. Number 1, hour by hour goals. Just forget about the year, forget about the day, the month, just the next 60 minutes. You play golf? Which hole in golf is the most important? Yeah, the one that you're on. Forget about just hour by hour. Olympic athletes, when they're on the ice, they don't think in terms of, I'm going to skate, I'm going to win the Olympics. They're thinking left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. You remember that figure skating event in Salt Lake City, the women's figure skating? They had the 2 older young ladies that were like 17, 18 years old. And how old was the one that won it? 13. Like 13 or 14 years old. That's a big difference between a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old. I remember seeing the 2 older girls that were, just imagine the amount of pressure that they're going through. And there they are. And you can see the pressure on their face. And the younger one said, I'm just going to skate my best routine. And she won the gold. Sometimes we got to bring it down to an hour by hour basis. And this is if you're just struggling to get on the phone. And I've got to tell you, this happens to me. Just getting on that stupid phone. I come in, how much does it weigh today? Ooh, 40 pounds today. Use this. If you're having trouble with that, just admit it and use this to help you get over that. There's a concept called call reluctance. And a friend of mine, she's a trainer, a sales trainer, and this is all she talks about, call reluctance. And I'll write her website name down. It's www.Connie Kadansky. I'm going to spell it out. It's all one word. .com. It's all one word, ConnieKadansky.com. And because I've been able to introduce her to our industry, she's done a lot of work with a lot of search firms that use her tool, which is very inexpensive, to evaluate who are the candidates that have the call reluctance. And a lot of it isn't really the fear of rejection. It might be what's their fear of prospecting. I mean, there's different types of profiles, and it's a pretty deep subject. I mean, we could spend a day just talking about call reluctance. But the short version of that is to say, let's just pull yourself out of your fear and focus on an hour-by-hour basis. Number two, focus on the connects, not the dials, but actually reaching people. Number 4, actually it should be number 3, but I use Microsoft Word, and I can't figure out how to get my numbers to work. So, sorry. Focus on the connects, not the results of the calls. You have no control over the result of the call, but you do have control on reaching people. And here's the thing. You talk to a candidate, or you're calling up for a candidate. Good morning, ABC Company. Hi, Scott Love calling for John Smith. Transmit, get to his voicemail. What do you do when you get someone's voicemail? You press 0. You don't leave a message, you press 0. If you leave a message, what happens? What happens then? They're going to listen to it and they hopefully return your call. Maybe, maybe not. Press 0. Hi, front desk, this is Betty. Hey, Betty, Scott, trying to reach Jim. I just got his voicemail. Is he in the office right now? Oh, yes, he is, sir. Let me page him for you. Great. He was just down the hall getting a drink of water. And I got him on the phone. So I focused on connecting with them. Something else I'll do with candidates, before I leave a message, I'll say, is he in the office now, or should I try to reach him on his cell phone? Oh, I think he's out of the office. Okay, great. I'll call him on his cell phone. Okay, thank you. Wait. Let me get his cell phone number from you. I don't have it in front of me. I'm not lying. I don't have their cell phone number. It's amazing. How many of you here do business on your cell phone? Everybody, right? Do you remember back when people had cell phones and they were like the size of bricks? Remember that? Yeah, and I can't give you their cell phone number. Only Commissioner Gordon has that. No, nowadays people want to be reached. What do you have better odds of reaching someone at their office or their cell phone? Cell phone. Because they're never at their desk. There's always in meetings or here or there, wherever. So get their cell phone number. I had this happen once. I called up, tried to reach someone I'd talked with before. Okay, I'll try and reach him on his cell phone. Called his cell phone number, is disconnected. I called back. I said I tried to reach him on his cell phone number. And I told her, it's his number 602-123-4567. Oh, no, that must be his old one. Let me give you the new one. Like, well, that was easy. So I got the new cell phone number, and I called him up. And I've never had anybody, except for one person, ever get upset that I called them on the cell phone. Because what's my intention? What's my intention? Is it to help someone or hurt them? It's to help them. And this is where it goes back to how we think. What's your belief in the business? Are you trying to manipulate people? Are you trying to serve them? Going to serve them. So they're lucky to get your call. They're really lucky to be getting your call. So I focus on actually connecting with people. 0, get to the front desk. Can you page them for me, please? And if the receptionist gives me a hard time, I say, listen, I'm very busy. I don't have time to keep playing phone tag. Because you are. I mean, whatever attitude I get from the receptionist, I give back to them. You know, if they're really nice, I'm really nice. That's why I always know what I'm going to get in New York City. I'm going to get someone with an attitude, you know? Now, I've got a dog. Her name is Honey Bear. And Honey Bear, she's a 25-pound Shiba Inu. You guys know what that is? It's like a breed. They're related to the Akita, but she's really tiny. And I remember the very first time I picked her up from doggy daycare. The daycare lady said, here, watch this. Honey Bear. And there she is across the field. All the other dogs saw her coming and they made a hole for her. She was the alpha. She was the smallest one there, but she was the alpha. And here she came. I remember the very first time I saw this happen. I took her to the park, and there's this little old lady with a dog, and the dog was small, frail, scared poodle. Saw Honey Bear. Going to make new friends with Honey Bear. Came up, sniffed her on the nose. Honey Bear came up to her, sniffed her on the nose, and then Honey Bear did this. Right on the nose. So I had to pull her off. If a dog is weak or scared, we had this other stray dog come up, and I'm telling the dog, get away, get away. There's a beagle, kind of shaken, kind of scared, kind of lost, came up to Honey Bear. Honey Bear grabbed onto the dog. So I'm like pulling Honey Bear off, and the dog comes off the ground also. I mean, I felt really bad. I felt really bad. I mean, it was like something out of like a Laverne and Shirley movie or something. I mean, it's just like one of these things that just. I said, Honey Bear, no. Now I want you to remember this. Those receptionists are like Honey Bear. If they smell fear, they will attack. I'm serious. If they smell fear or hesitation, if you hesitate, that's why when you're calling candidates, when you're calling clients, this is what they're expecting. Hi, is John Smith there? Who's calling?
New York.
Yeah. Who's calling? This is Scott Love. Which company are you with? Scott Love Associates? Is he expecting your call? No. What's the nature of your call? I want to sell him something. Click, you're not going to get through. You're not. So this is why the attitude is important. When I'm talking to people, they deserve to hear, I deserve to talk to them. They need to hear what I have to say. And this is what's going on. It's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. Confidence is that you know that you can serve other people. You know you're good. Arrogance is feeling like you need to tell everybody that. Because if you know you're good, does it matter what other people really think? No. You have that confidence. Morning ABC company. Hi, Scott Love calling for Gary. If it's a small company, I'll mention a first name basis. I'll mention a first name. Gets me through because every receptionist, they know that if I give you keys to the castle, I might get in trouble unless you deserve to be here. So if I tell them, Scott Love calling for Gary, she thinks I've already been in the castle before, so she'll let me in. The confidence will let you through. It'll let you through. So when you focus on actually getting through to people. Number 5, which should be number 4, but it's 5 because of Bill Gates. Thank you. 10 dials at a time. I know I talked about connects, but if you're just having a tough time getting on the phone, focus on picking up that headset or that handset, dialing the phone 10 times and then putting it back in its cradle. Picking it up, dialing 10 times, and then put it back in its cradle. If you do that, a series of 10 dials, 10 times, that's the end of the day. So if you have new people, they're just not used to making phone calls. Just make 10 dials and hang up. 10 dials, hang up. 10 dials, hang up. That's it. Number 6, focus on getting through and getting them on the phone, like I mentioned. Number 7, 5 by 9. See if you can have 5 conversations by 9 a.m. If you work in the Midwest, it's like 5 by 10, wherever you work. 5 by 9 o'clock in the morning if you're working in your same time zone. Number 8, work hard for 1 hour, then quit for the rest of the day. You guys like that? I love that. Man, I don't want to get on the phone. Okay, there's a movie I really want to see at 11:45, and it's 2.5 hours long. So it's 9 o'clock, I'm just going to work hard until 10 o'clock, then I'm going to maybe go to Books A Million, get a cup of coffee, and then go catch an 11:45 matinee. That's what I tell myself. I'm just going to hustle like a maniac for 60 minutes. And I just hustle, have some great calls, got a candidate, got a client, setting up an interview. I don't want to go to that movie anymore. I don't want to go to the movie anymore. You're psyching yourself out. I'm not really going to take the day off, okay? I'm just telling you that right now. Because Art Lucas thought I meant that. I think he thought I meant that. When I said just focus hard for 1 hour and take that, I think he didn't understand. But I'm just kidding. But focus for 1 hour, and then say I'm going to take the rest of the day off, and don't really take the day off. But you're telling yourself I'm just going to focus like a maniac for 60 minutes. If you do that, do you think good things are going to happen? You see what's going on here? You know what's going on? Every day you need to be reminded that the business isn't that painful. Every day we need this reminder that it's not that painful. And you know what it is? It's that one good call. You have that one good call where you're like, oh, this is great. I can't wait to get on the phone. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? It is one good call every day. What we want to do, we want to move that. It's what I call the hurdle threshold. It's this threshold. It's this hurdle we have to get over. We want to move that from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. We want to take that from when you feel like making phone calls, instead of doing it here, do it closer to here. If you feel like doing it, you're going to do it, and you're going to do it better. Does that make sense? That's it. How much would it cost for you to say, I'm just going to focus like a maniac for 1 hour? What's your cost? What's your benefit? It's going to be huge. Something else you can do also, when you set up planning your day, would you rather jump into a cold swimming pool or ease into a nice, warm, bubbly jacuzzi? Jacuzzi. I'm a jacuzzi man, not a cold swimming pool man. So I'm going to make my jacuzzi calls first. So set up your jacuzzi calls first. Don't be so hard on yourself. Come on. Give yourself a break. Make your jacuzzi calls first thing in the morning. What kind of calls would those be?
Warm call.
Warm calls. What would be an example of a warm call?
Someone you know, following up with a candidate.
Following up with a candidate. Extending an offer. Client said they wanted to interview the guy. Setting up the meeting. Debriefing, extending the offer. Why would it be good? What's that?
I was going to say servicing calls.
Yeah, that's right. And if you got nothing else going on, a servicing call or just calling someone that likes you. These money calls that you make, why would it be beneficial to make those in the morning, first thing? Why do you think that's important? Gets you excited, right, Tim? Gets you warmed up. Yeah, you're achieving multiple benefits by doing that. You're getting closer to the deals. You're doing the priorities first. Plus, you're taking that energy and you're leveraging that. You close a deal. I got a deal. I got an offer. What's the next thing you should do? What's that? No, not take the day off. Get back on the phone. Stop that. Give me your candy, Tim. Give me your candy. Get back on the phone. I remember seeing this. This is a documentary. This is a true story. And then we'll take a break. I saw this documentary on PBS. It was about monkeys living in this river, this forest in Africa. And they had this monkey over here. And the monkey's by the river, and he's picking up these rocks. And he picks up a rock, looking to eat a worm or a bug, and he puts it back down. Picks up another rock, puts it back down. Picks up another rock, puts it back down. And I tell my wife, I'm like, honey, come here, look. This is what I do. Picks up, here's a bug. And what does he do? You know what he did? He ran around the jungle telling everybody how good the bug was. No. He put the rock down, and what did he do? Picked up another one. You have a good call, you don't go tell everybody about that. I had a good call. This is so good. I got this. Send me the resume. You like me. You really like me. Now, why are you guys laughing? Oh, you never do that. It's the other guy that does that, right? No, you put the phone down, pick it up, get on the phone again. Here's some other tips, and then we'll take a break. Contests. Number 9, managers take a $20 bill, put it in the refrigerator in your office. First person in the office that has 5 conversations can come and take this every day. What's your cost as a manager? $100 a week, $400 a month. What happens to your performance? People start the day off on a good note, right? 5 conversations, whether they're good or bad or whatever. Doesn't matter what kind of calls, 5 connects. First person, $20. What do you think is going to happen with your staff? Yeah, people will push each other out of the way. Get out of my way. Shut up, please. I've got to get on the phone. $20. You guys like contests? You guys like games? Yeah, make it a game. This business is hard. Make it a game. Number 11, keep records of your telephone discipline tool sheets. You can even graph them out if you want, see how many connects per day you have, and see yourself get better. Number 12, if you procrastinate, the best thing to do is just say, I have a problem with procrastination. I need to focus one thing at a time. I'm not like the only person that has this problem, am I? I've been wanting to do this, but I haven't gotten to that yet. That's a joke. That's a joke. Number 13, ask yourself this question. I kid you not. I've done this in the last week. I asked myself, there it is. Hello, phone. Hello, Scott. What are you going to do today? Oh, I think I'm just going to sit here for a couple of hours and I'll start making phone calls. You know how it is. You got the little voice. Talking to people is scary. It really hurts. Oh, come on, you sissy. What are you waiting for, you pansy? Pick up the phone. But they might tell you, no, you shouldn't do that. You should go home and go back to bed. No, come on. Bing. I actually have to say, what's the absolute worst thing that can happen if I'm on the phone talking to people? How long have you been doing this? 11 years. You still do this? Yeah, because I'm a mere mortal. I have to do this. But this is what helps me get to that threshold. Performance, Performance delta. Where am I? Where could I be? This is stuff I have to do. I mean, who do you think I make this stuff up for? For me. And I know if it helps me out, it's going to help everybody else out. Because we're all screwed up. Okay? We're all screwed up, and I'm just like you. I'm screwed up just like everybody else.